Hello, beautiful souls. I have got a good one for you tonight that I'm so excited to share with you. This is especially for anyone who feels like they are questioning everything. Are you finding yourself questioning everything right now? You know what I mean. You have those moments, right? Or days where you start to wonder, what is it all for? Why am I here? What am I doing with my life? Is there more than life? Is there more to life than working 9 to 5, taking 2 weeks vacation, and working to have my insurance paid for? Those are good, but is there more, right? We start to questioning these things. Is there something more than barely functioning relationships? Or worse, relationships where you feel like you just cannot communicate, no matter how hard you try. These moments can sneak up on you at the most inopportune times, and they typically happen when you enter a time of transition. It doesn't even need to be a huge transition time. Sure, there are things like the death of a parent, getting laid off, that can cause you to question things. But sometimes something as simple as moving from your summer routine to your fall routine can even begin to spark these questions. And let's not forget, ending daylight savings time and darkness hits us at 4 p.m. or less. And these questions we ask ourselves are not small questions. Don't minimize them. When you get really up into your head, you start thinking about about selling everything, right? Everything you own, you're going to let go of. You're going to quit your job. You're going to move to Costa Rica. Yeah. Am I right? I interact with a lot of people, and I see many of the same patterns show up over and over again. It's human. Many of us have a deep-seated need to connect, contribute, and make a difference. We want to know that our lives have a purpose and that we aren't just going through the motions until the day we leave planet Earth. But here is the interesting part. And I want to share with you, and I want you to share with me if you relate, if you understand exactly what I'm talking about. There are hundreds of millions of people over the planet that have lived before, that are here now, who at least on the outside are content with their lot in life. They are willing to stay at the same job for 40 years. Think of your parents, think of your grandparents, right? And even people we know. They are happy to have the same routine day after day. They live their lives on autopilot, and it does not matter what comes their way. They are probably not going to make many changes to their life. We all know these people, right? They don't rock the boat. They don't look for any alternatives. They are not big risk takers. They will never be the ones who move across the country to start a new life or even question much about their current life. They are content. They are content living their same life year after year. After all, it brings safety to them, decades after decade. Nothing wrong with this type of person, not at all. It's simply a type. Now, some of these people are quite happy living this way, while others are not very happy. But they still choose to remain within the familiar rather than take a risk at exploring the unknown. So, we all have family members and friends who are exactly how I describe them, right? Yeah, maybe you are. It's okay. Except for if you're living in this space of wanting more but not doing more. Everyone knows exactly the type of person I'm talking about. And to be clear, I am not saying there is right or wrong to this. There is no judgment here. I'm just stating a fact. And in the fact, I would say that someone who is content living their simple prescribed life is in a very enviable position. They don't really feel this inner need or urge or drive for more. They take what they have been handed. They take what they earn. They don't concern themselves with purpose or legacy or wanting to do more in life, do they? They seem to be free from this internal drive. But on the other hand, it's this internal drive that makes the rest of us a little doggone crazy. We can't let go of it. We know there is more in us, for us. We are here to do more and experience more. We are not better than any other group. We simply, because of our internal drive, don't have the luxury of ignoring our drive or impulse to contribute and experience and learn. It is what drives us internally at our core. So, when we question in skepticism what this does, it makes us dissatisfied. That doesn't feel good. It makes us unhappy. And when we feel this way, or we voice our objection to the status quo, we feel judged often. We are judged for not conforming. We can feel judged for not wanting a steady, even government job that pays us on every 2 weeks, pays our insurance, and allows us to pay our bills. We are judged for not staying in a toxic relationship because other people's belief is something is better than nothing. We are judged for our risk-taking. We are judged for all the courses, programs, and books we've ever invested in over the years to help us become who we are, to help us become more and answer that internal call, to understand ourselves more and to find the wisdom we seek. We are judged for wasting our money on certifications or not being stable, right? Because we change careers a bit more often than the average person. We may even be judged for thinking differently than the rest of our family or social norms that can leave us feeling boxed in when it comes to our own interpretation, experience, and expression of the world around us. So, on one side, we have family and friends who have chosen to live their lives very simply, routinely, safely, with predictability. And on the other side, we have the rest of us who are seekers and sojourners, nonconformists who are quite a bit less predictable and desire so much more for our lives, for who we are. But there is also a third group. And if you are sitting here listening to me and you don't quite feel like you relate to either group yet, listen closely to see if this describes you. You grew up in an environment that is most like the first group, regular, status quo family, where your parents and your extended family lived their lives within a predetermined structure. You may have been part of a larger community that further shaped your identity. A neighborhood and neighbors and the community, the ball field you played on, the theater you belonged in. You probably made all the right choices according to what was expected of you. Yeah. You got an education. You excelled to the best of your ability in school. You most likely got a degree, and you are in a stable job. Doesn't mean you love your job. You're in a stable job. But you are not like the rest of your family or community. You do want more. But the ties that bind you run so deep that you've never done anything actually to surprise your family. You never actually voiced out loud your deeper need for significance or that you don't believe as they do, that is as good as it gets. That belief that it's as good as it gets. You don't quite buy into all that because you know and trust that more is always available. You don't want to spend the next 20 years working in a classroom, in the same environment, with the same people, being held back, having your ideas taken in corporate world. I know you. You may have taken, maybe you've taken a life coaching certification or other types of healing arts certification courses. You may have dabbled in other forms of spirituality, healing again. You've always wanted to visit or live in a different part of the country or a different country altogether. But nobody, no one in your family does that, except maybe their yearly cruise or a beach vacation. These thoughts you are having about starting your own business, leaving your long-term relationship, selling your home, or moving out of the country would shock, absolutely shock anybody, everyone in your family who knows you. On the outside, by all accounts, you are a conformist. But the inner you, that's who I'm speaking to. The real you is a free spirit who is longing to break out of your current life, and you want to travel. You want to see the world around you. You want to start your own business, your coaching business, your healing business. You want to live a little counterculturally. But you would shock everyone if you ever voice this. Anyone relate to this third person and their description? Yeah. To you, I want to say, I'm sorry you don't feel safe. To live life on your terms, to live authentically, or to present yourself authentically to those who are closest to you. You don't have to stay this way. I've been there. I know you. I understand you. So really, I'm talking to those who identify with the second or third group. Those of you who are not already living a bit counterculturally, or those of you who think outside of the box. If you were living authentically, you would be living more authentically, counterculturally, for lack of a better way to put it. You are burdened with this desire to be more. Pause, feel into this. You know deep within you, you desire to be more, to experience more, to live more, whatever that looks like for your life purpose. As I've mentioned before, the people who are satisfied to take what they have been handed and live their lives do not carry this burden. But you do. It can be a difficult burden to carry because you are going against not only the current status quo, but the generations upon generations of patterns that have led the rest of your family. Their status quo, their lives. It's how you were raised, what you were culturally taught, what was modeled to you, including your generational patterns. Do you see what I'm getting at? Here are some ways wanting more goes against the generational patterns many of us carry, that around the idea that it's better to play it safe or it is better not to rock the boat. Because it's better to be included somewhere than nowhere. Because when we change our norm and our story, there's this deep fear that we won't be accepted, that we'll lose those people who accept us for playing small. It's real. Let me continue around some inherited beliefs. It is better to work hard for what you do earn, and it is better to stay below the radar. It is better not to take a risk. There's more generational patterns. It is better to live in self-preservation rather than expending resources that may not be replaced. It's a risk. It is better to follow the wide path rather than forge your own path through the jungle in uncomfortability and some struggle during the process. You don't take that risk because your great grandfather, oh, you've heard the story, that took the risk and lost everything. You don't spend the family resources of time and money to invest in a program to better yourself. Why? Because your place is to sacrifice for everyone else. I call that a giving heart that is way out of balance. You can be both. You don't try to move into positions of influence that are not for people like us. And by the way, who do you think you even are trying to change the family pattern, trying to change the norm of how we are raised? These are real. They're very real. And I mean, when you think about it, that is a lot of generational patterns or beliefs, isn't it? And many of these you may be working against right now. And those, honestly, are just off the top of my head. Just give me another couple minutes. I could list another 20 with no problem. I've been doing this so long, worked with thousands of people. I'm aware of my own. I've worked against them. I've worked to clear them. So when you decide you want to quit your current career and become possibly a life coach because you want to help others, it's the calling, but you're bumping up against these current pressures from family, society, friends telling you there is no money in life coaching. The industry is way oversaturated. And you're also, by the way, subconsciously working against all the generational baggage, pulling you backwards into conformity. It will be very difficult for you to make the decision, stick with it, take the steps to become a successful life coach. Remember all that judgment that I talked about just a minute ago? If you do not address your generational patterns that limit you, including your inherited limiting beliefs, this is your inherited emotional DNA within your epigenetics. It is not woo-woo. It is science. However, if you choose to stay in it, you will only take little steps towards your dreams that allow you to stay safe. For instance, you might save up and take a coaching course, and you might put a low-cost website together and get some business cards made and do a few social media posts, but you will never truly take on the identity of a life coach, because that means you will need to make decisions. You will need to feel uncomfortable a bit. You need to take actions that run counter to your generational patterns. And if you don't take that on as an identity, as a life coach, you will continue to see mostly clients for free or really low cost and not ask for what you are worth. Raising your prices will be forever a block for you. But you can at least say you tried. And then you'll follow up, I tried, but I guess it just wasn't for me. Oh, well. Do you see this pattern? How it just continues to feed itself in one way or another? Playing safe and taking the steps you need to realize your heart's desire are at complete odds with each other. Becoming more inherently driven involves more risk for everybody. This is one thing that that everyone has in common. That's the mechanism that allows you to become more. So, how do you go from thinking about all these changes you want for your life to actually taking steps towards them, to materialize your soul's desires, your life purpose, your heart, what your heart and your soul desires? Yeah. You need to embrace, to learn how to transform those limiting beliefs that exist in your DNA that have been passed down in the cellular memory of your body by your ancestors. You need to learn how to access your subconscious mind, because that is where 100% of this resides. And you may think you know what you know, but I promise there are things you are not aware of that actually govern all your actions that you take and the decisions you make and those you don't make. You are probably not consciously thinking, oh, my great-grandfather or grandmother my great-grandmother wanted to be a doctor. You're not living in this environment of the truth that she was ridiculed and rejected because she was a woman in a generation where only men became doctors. Only men went to medical school. Or older women who never had a chance but was raised in prosperity, whose parents could get them into a school. There's what, 5 that went to medical school? I mean, there's not very many that went to medical school that were women. And your grandma was one that was denied that opportunity. So she's ended up living an unfulfilled life regarding her desire to save people's lives. She wanted to save people's lives. And you might want to too. But she wasn't able to live her life purpose. And because that happened to her, you are most likely feeling somewhere in your career that you should not be doing something out of the norm. Your subconscious isn't going to let the same thing happen to you that happened to your great-grandmother. Your subconscious does not want you to be rejected. So it will set up barriers, emotional, mental, and physical, to discourage you from pursuing anything out of the norm, out of the generational box. It will create blocks for you, trying to protect you. And the truth is, the subconscious doesn't know the truth from the lie. This was somebody else's to experience. It's not yours to live. The only way to break down these barriers to your success is by identifying them, removing them, and then, vital, is to replace them. Replace the pattern of lack with safety. Replace the pattern of feeling unloved with lovable. And replace the pattern of scarcity with abundance. And while we're at it, let's replace the pattern of servitude with loving mastery. This is what I do. This is how I help people succeed. This is what I do that went against a family norm. And I've never been happier, and I'm close with my family. So it doesn't mean you have to leave the family norm to accept your life calling, but you do have to move through it. You do have to embrace uncomfortability for a hot minute. This is how your whole life can transform. And not just your life, but the lives closest to you, your children, your parents, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins. You'll be surprised. You'll be amazed. Yeah, they're miracles. And I would love to teach you how to heal your own epigenetics, how to heal these generational patterns and release what isn't yours. I would love to see you activate your own inner healer. The world needs your gifts, talents, and wisdom. If helping others has been placed upon your heart as a calling of sorts, it's because you are uniquely gifted to do this work. The deep feeling of doing whatever this is will never leave you. It won't matter if you are 80 years old. It will never leave you. The only thing standing in your way is the baggage of patterns and beliefs, social norms that currently hold that run counterintuitive to the desires of your soul. Oh, I have lots of free resources and information available on my website, in my Facebook group, Release Your Inherited Emotional DNA, and on my YouTube. I also have an upcoming epigenetics class that I will link the information for you. This is where I teach a small group of participants the basics of my proprietary method. It's trademarked to reveal, remove, release your own generational patterns that are causing you to feel blocked in any one of the areas of your life, and you might be very surprised that when you go to release it in one area, you find it in multiple areas. It's not tunnel vision here. There's not one thing. It incorporates a lot of things, and you're going to have access to it. The transformation that occurs in this beautiful group setting never fails to amaze me, even though I have done this class now many times. The breakthroughs continue to be miraculous. I continue to leave these in utter gratitude that I've embraced my calling. I would love for you to join me. I would love to teach you how to embrace your life, own your life, remove your own blocks, be self-sufficient so you can step into a life you truly desire, so you can step into the calling you've been called to do. I will teach you how to activate your inner healer. I will activate for you. And once you learn this process, you continue to use it every day if you want, to heal yourself at any time when you get triggered, or you feel blocked in your income, or you feel blocked in communication with a partner. You can heal any area of your life where you feel limited or out of control. Do not let the fear of others control you. Do not let the fear of others, what they will say or how they will perceive you, stand between you and what you are here to do. Do not let a day go by pretending to be someone who is okay with conforming when inside you are bursting. You're just bursting for your dreams, for yourself and your future. You know what I mean. You might even feel goosebumps right now because of the calling of truth that's being spoken. Don't continue to live your life thinking that your desires and your heart are being selfish or out of step with who you are. They are only out of step with who you have been told you are. I would love to help you become all you are here to become. This is my purpose. I own it. I stand in the truth of it. And that thing that brings me so much fulfillment and happiness, I want you to have as well. Please ask me questions. You know I will respond. See the information, check it out on the upcoming masterclass, and see if it is for you. See if it is the next best step for you. And if it is, I'm here. I'm here to teach you. I'm here to guide you. I'm here to mentor you. I'm here to support you. And I'm here to help your life transform. And I'm sending you lots of love.